So what is up, guys? Oscar here, back with a new video continuing to talk free agency talk for the Washington football team. Like I said, this is going to be one of one of the best or intriguing off seasons for the Washington football team now that they got a general manager, an executive vice president of player personnel. They got Ron Rivera. They got all the guys that they need to discuss who to bring in and who not to bring in, who to re-sign and who not to re-sign to long-term deals. So today I'm going to be continuing the conversation with what wide receivers could best fit for Washington, because that is another need that Washington needs to fill up this season. Last year, Washington really did not have, aside from Terry McLaurin, and you're going to say Logan Thomas, but Logan Thomas is a tight end. I will dedicate another video talking about the tight ends as well. But this is going to be all about wide receiving options for free agency. Going to be breaking down my picks, my best, what I view or who I view would be a good number two. Because Terry McLaurin is your top guy. He is going to be your number one wide receiver. Calvin Harmon is coming back, but I think he may be a number three or a number four guy. Antonio Gandy-Golden, he's still, didn't have much playing time. We didn't have a preseason last year. If he can show that he can be solid, maybe he could be the four. And Calvin Harmon, if he comes back healthier than ever and pick up where he left off from his rookie season, he's coming off of that torn ACL, so I highly doubt that. He could be our number three, but this is all about wide receiver number two, because Terry McLaurin needs help, because he's been, teams are catching on and double teaming and triple teaming Terry McLaurin, so he needs help. So here are the guys that I have. I'm going to break down what they did in the past year or year plus to my memory and stuff like that. So let's break this down. So the first wide receiver I have here is Allen Robinson. Just keep in mind, guys, that here's the thing. This year, like I said in previous videos, Washington is top 5 in salary cap. So they'll have a wallet, money in their wallet to make splashes. However, most of these wide receiving guys, these wide receivers, you're gonna have to pay big bucks to get here to Washington. So first guy is Allen Robinson. Last year with Chicago, had big games towards the end of the season. He actually had mediocre quarterback play, and he actually made quarterbacks actually look good when he caught the football with Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles, and let me see who else. Made Blake Bortles look good when he was with the Jaguars. So he would be a good number two guy. But like I said, he's probably going to be up in the $20 million range. It was documented that he was wanting a trade out of Chicago last year, but didn't get it. But he's a free agent. I wouldn't be too mad. He had 1,000. Sorry about that. He had over 1,000 yards receiving this past year. Is a 1,000-yard receiver a couple of times. I think he made the Pro Bowl a couple of times too. The only downside is, what concerns me is his injury history. Missed like 5 games, I think, this past year with injuries, with a concussion and a shoulder injury. So that's what concerns me, is his injury history. But other than that, he would be a good number two. Next up, Chris Godwin. Last year, really didn't. He was mostly on the shelf with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but has made the Pro Bowl. Was a 1,000-yard receiver in 2019 as well with Jameis Winston. Had his breakout year actually that year. But like I said, he's gonna be more expensive, and also the injury. I don't know if Ron Rivera would like an injury prone guy. But like I said, he would also be a good number 2. Enough said there. Juju Smith-Schuster. I have more to say about this guy. Because he would be a good number 2 if, and here's the thing, Washington, there was rumors swirling during the season that Juju Smith-Schuster, Washington would have loved to sign Juju Smith-Schuster. I would be okay with that. My only thing is that he's a little bit immature. I remember he is the guy to actually like dance on the opposing team's 50-yard line, like stomping on their logos, and that's just immature. And I remember when the media kept on asking him, why do you keep on doing that? And he was like, shouldn't you stop doing that? And he was like, no, I'm gonna keep on doing it. I don't care what people say. So my thing is, he would be a good number 2, even though he regressed this past year because he had a lot of drop passes. Really didn't shine this past year, but like I said, he would be this is all a number 2 guy. The immaturity is something that I would consider. Maybe he could do better here in Washington because, like I stated in previous videos, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're not disciplinarian. Mike Tomlin isn't a disciplinarian coach, so I wonder if his attitude would change if he would work under Ron Rivera, because I think that could be fixed. His attitude and his immaturity can be adjusted if he has the right coach to tell him, hey, that's not right. Get your act together. Let's go. Play with class. But I think he would be another solid option as well. Next guy who I think would be on the cheaper side of things. These next few guys would actually be cheaper. And this is actually Kenny Golladay. Played very well for the Lions the last few years. Had an 1,000-yard season 2 years ago in 2019. He is injury prone though. He only played 2 or 3 games this year, I think, and he got hurt. So I would turn away from that guy as well. But even though he's a solid guy, but just Washington needs healthy wide receivers because they didn't have that this year. They need healthy guys. That's something that I need to stress. They need healthy guys this year because, like I said, their wide receiving options aren't appealing if they're going to stick with the guys that they have. So I think, Kenny Golladay, he's a good wide receiver, just a little bit injury prone. Another guy who I wouldn't pay too much, even though he's probably going to ask for it because he hasn't shown potential and he's also injury prone. Will Fuller, last year was his prove-it year, proved that he was going to be the number 1 guy in Houston. Really almost proved it, but also another thing is that he has to serve a suspension. Got caught with the drug abuse substance policy or whatever it's called. He would be another guy on the cheaper side of things because I don't think he would ask for much because he really hasn't proved that he's a number 1 guy if he doesn't re-sign with Houston. So I think he would be on the cheaper side of things. But what concerns me is his off-the-field issues and his injury history because I think he had a torn ACL. Was it 2 years ago? Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago in the year. He's been injury prone is what I'm saying. Next guy who would be a little bit high-priced, another high-priced guy, Curtis Samuel, a slot guy. Now this guy, here's the thing. You need a guy who's going to be on the outside, your deep threat, and a slot guy. Because Steven Sims flopped this year. He wasn't the guy. He was injured. He was off the field, dropped passes. So this offseason, you need to find that outside wide receiver that will help out Terry McLaurin, and you have to find a slot wide receiver. And Curtis Samuel could be that guy. Had a breakout year this year when DJ Moore wasn't playing. Who else wasn't playing? When Robbie Anderson, was silent. Curtis Samuel was Teddy Bridgewater's go-to. Had a breakout year this year. Like I said, he's a good guy in the slot, and Washington needs someone like that because Steven Sims kind of flopped this year. Next guy, and this actually it would be a very cheap option, Marvin Jones Jr., another Lions wide receiver who's free agent on the free agent market. He would be really cheap. He would be really cheap. I remember Washington also was rumored to be interested in trading for him, but that never happened. He's on the plus side. He's getting up there in age though, but he has been a durable guy. You know, that's also what Washington is looking for. The guys that I was discussing, aside from a few, are injury prone. Marvin Jones Jr. is not injury prone. He would be the ideal number 2. He's healthy, and he can help out Terry McLaurin because he would be that wild card. Can make big catches when needed. I would like to see him here in Washington. Like I said, he would be older, but he's durable and cheaper. He would be here at a cheap deal, maybe I would say $3 to $5 million if it was like a 2-year deal. So I wouldn't be mad at that, to be honest, compared to what the other guys are probably going to be asking for, like 15 mil plus, 10 mil plus. Marvin Jones will be a cheaper option. And then finally, my biggest pick, and I like this guy, and he got on my radar last year with the Tennessee Titans, Corey Davis. Now hear me out. He would be expensive, and durability and him being healthy is an issue, but I like him. Because he really didn't have a fair chance of being the number 1 guy in Tennessee, because A.J. Brown came along. Tennessee is a run first team with Derrick Henry. I like Corey Davis. He had breakout game. He had last year had a streak where he had 4 straight 100-yard games. Had a couple of touchdowns as well in those games. I like him. If Allen Robinson and these other outside guys aren't available, I would go for Corey Davis just because he would be a good complement to Terry McLaurin. He would get the necessary targets, in my opinion, if needed. The only issue with that, like I said earlier, is his durability. He gets injured off and on. So that, is something to think about. But basically all of these guys that are wide receivers this offseason have had injury problems in the past. The only person that would be completely healthy and cheap would be either Juju Smith-Schuster or what's this guy's name? Marvin Jones Jr. So those would be my guys to, those will be the durability guys. Even though Juju Smith-Schuster would probably be expensive, and Marvin Jones would be on the cheaper side of things, but I like Corey Davis or Allen Robinson or maybe even Will Fuller to come to Washington for the outside wide receiving positions. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on the wide receiving core that I chose to come to Washington. Do you guys disagree with my picks? Do you guys like my picks? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're new to my channel and you like what you hear, and you're rocking with me, please hit that red subscribe button, like this video, share the video, comment to let me know what your thoughts are. Turn on most post notifications so that way you know when I drop a new video. And until then, guys, next up will be tight ends, and that will be coming up soon. Until then, guys, keep it real. See you guys next time. Peace.